me. What happened?
I don't know what happened.
Okay, listen to me. Sir, is someone hurt? You need to tell me yes or no. Is someone hurt?
Yes, my daughter's bleeding. That's her neck is cut. My daughter's neck is cut. What happened? She's upset. Got a knife, dude.
Who has a knife? Someone, I can't understand what's going on.
Just moments after this chilling 911 call when cops arrived at the crime scene, they had no idea that they were about to discover some insane secrets.
Hey! Hey! I have to pee. I'm gonna pee in here. If you don't let me go, just let me pull my pants down and go outside. Please.
The voice you just heard belongs to Jeffrey Dahmer. Just moments after she discovered that her daughter, Ariana, had been brutally stabbed and was bleeding out in a way no parent should ever witness. Every member of the family was under suspicion of cops. The father,
My daughter's bleeding. That's her neck is cut.
the mother,
I have to pee.
and her boyfriend.
I want to cry. Oh.
But the cops were not sure who stabbed Ariana and what was the motive behind this brutal crime until some clues began to surface. On Christmas Eve 2021, the Ptarcinski family returned home after a joyful celebration. While Eddie and Judy went to bed, Ariana and her boyfriend Ramon stayed up in her bedroom. Suddenly, Eddie was jolted awake by Ramon's panicked screams. Rushing upstairs, Eddie and Judy found a horrifying scene. Ramon, drenched in blood, clutching Ariana by her hair and neck. Blood poured from a deep wound in her throat as Ariana locked eyes with her father, her expression a desperate plea for help before collapsing to the floor. In sheer panic, Eddie grabbed the phone and called 911. The operator struggled to hear him over the chaos in the background, shouting, cursing, and the unmistakable sound of fear.
Listen to me. What happened?
I don't know what happened.
Okay, listen to me. Sir, is someone hurt? You need to tell me yes or no. Is someone hurt?
Yes, my daughter's bleeding. That's her neck is cut. My daughter's neck is cut. What happened? She's upset. Got a knife, dude.
Who has a knife? Someone, I can't understand what's going on.
Meanwhile, Isabella, awakened by the noise, stepped out of her room. What she saw was like something out of a nightmare. Her sister lay on the floor unconscious as Ramon gripped her hair. She stood frozen, watching in horror as her father and Ramon yelled over each other, their words incomprehensible in the chaos. Before anyone could react, Ramon dragged Ariana's lifeless body by the hair into Eddie and Judy's bedroom, leaving a gruesome trail of blood from Ariana's room to their parents' door. After leaving an injured Ariana in her parents' bedroom, Ramon headed downstairs, with Eddie close behind. The argument heated up as Eddie angrily accused Ramon of murdering his daughter. Meanwhile, just 3 houses away, Thomas and Melissa Lobianco heard the loud shouting and decided to call the Hernando County Sheriff's Office to report the disturbance. The Lobiancos saw Eddie and a stranger step into the front yard, still arguing loudly. Thomas decided to walk over and see what was happening, concerned for his neighbor. As he got closer, the scene became clearer and more disturbing. Eddie was shouting accusations, blaming the younger man for his daughter's death. Then Thomas saw the man Eddie was yelling at. He was covered in blood, pacing angrily and shouting back. Sensing danger, Thomas prepared himself for what was coming. When the blood-soaked man, Ramon, as Thomas later learned, approached Eddie in a threatening way, Thomas stepped in. He slapped Ramon to stop him, but it wasn't enough. With no other choice, Thomas clenched his fist and punched Ramon, knocking him to the ground.
This kid came out of the house covered in blood, and Eddie's yelling at him, saying, "You effing killed her, you effing killed her." The kid says, "Well, what the F doesn't matter, I'm going to jail anyway."
That's when he realized who Ramon was, Ariana's boyfriend. But Ramon didn't stop. From the ground, he kept screaming, repeating that he was going to jail for what he had done. As paramedics arrived at the Ptarcinski home, they rushed to the master bedroom where Ariana lay bleeding heavily. They worked quickly to stabilize her before transporting her to Bayonet Point Hospital for emergency surgery. Police officers followed closely behind, securing the chaotic scene outside. Meanwhile, Eddie and Ramon's heated shouting match continued. The situation escalated to the point where officers pointed a rifle at Eddie, forcing him to his knees before taking him into custody. Ramon, on the other hand, was handcuffed with little resistance. As crime scene technicians began gathering evidence from the home, officers escorted Judy and Isabella outside. Isabella was placed in protective custody, while Judy, intoxicated and visibly hysterical, was detained and placed in the back of a police cruiser. Dashcam footage captured Judy's desperate cries for information about Ariana. Distraught and overwhelmed, she banged on the windows, begging deputies to save her daughter.
Please, please, please. Please. God. Please. Please let Ariana be okay. God, please let her. Let her. Okay.
A deputy asked Judy if Isabella could stay with her cousin Melissa, but Judy insisted her daughter be sent to her grandmother instead. Moments later, Judy broke down completely, calling out to the police in frustration. Despite her pleas, she was ignored, left in the dark about the events of the night.
You know Melissa, right?
Melissa.
Your cousin?
Yes.
Okay, her last name's Galza?
What's going on?
Real quick, we gotta figure out what we're gonna do with Isabel.
What do you mean?
She's sitting in the back of the car,
Okay.
which isn't cool. She's 12 years old. So I just want to make sure that we have your permission that she can be with Melissa for.
Where's my? No, I want my mom. I want to be with her.
Okay, where's she at?
Get the car.
Well, where does your mom live?
Spring Hill too.
Okay.
Nearly 30 minutes passed before a deputy finally informed Judy that Ariana had been stabbed and the situation was now a criminal investigation. Judy, still confused and shaken, insisted she had no idea what had happened to her daughter. Officers explained that she was being detained for questioning since she had been inside the house when the incident occurred.
Hey! Hey! You hear me? I know you do. Please, please. Why are you doing this? My baby!
For over 50 minutes, Judy sat alone, pleading for answers.
Hey, I have to go to the bathroom. Okay, can you tell me, is my mom and my dad back here? Can you please help me? Stop being nasty to me. Please, tell me, is my daughter okay? I have to pee. I'm gonna pee in here. If you don't let me go, please. Just let me pull my pants down and go outside. Please, I have to pee really bad. I've been knocking. And you have been listening. Please let me go. Please. Can you let me go?
I told you to give me a second so I can figure out what I need to do.
I know. I can't hold it anymore. I've been knocking. I can't hold it. I'm going to go in my pants. Please. I'm not a bad mom. I love my girls. I don't know what happened.
The officers, focused on processing the scene, offered little clarity as Judy grappled with the devastating reality unfolding around her.
What do you mean a crime scene?
It's a crime scene.
How?
Your daughter got hurt.
How?
I don't know. You have to tell me that.
How did she get hurt?
I don't know. How did she get hurt?
I don't.
What happened?
I don't know. Like, what happened to her?
I don't know. I only know what you tell me. And you told me you don't know. So
I don't know. Is my mom and my dad here?
No, I told you I don't know.
Can I please call them?
I can't get your phone. If it's in the house, I'm not allowed.
Can I call them from your phone? Please.
In a separate police cruiser, Ramon sat quietly, detained as investigators combed through the Ptarcinski home for evidence.
gonna get EMS?
Yeah, they're coming. They went to the house first. What's your name? You from Spring Hill? Huh? Okay. How old are you? How old are you?
Can I just say something? Can we have a little back and forth real quick?
Let's have back and forth. Go ahead.
My leg's over right now.
What do you mean?
You know what I mean? You see what the situation is?
I don't know what the situation is. I've been outside with you.
Okay. What do you think the situation is?
I don't know. I don't want to assume. You see what I'm covered in? Okay. What happened?
I don't know. I can't. I'm just going to say something because I know.
Well, I see you, the dad out there fighting, so I don't know.
Look, all right, you don't know, but I know. But the situation is like, so I'm 20 years old. I love that. I love it.
Unlike Judy's frantic behavior, Ramon seemed resigned to his fate. Still, moments of vulnerability broke through. He cried when he thought about Ariana and the events of the night. His thoughts appeared divided between guilt and worry as he repeatedly asked the officers what would happen to him.
It sounds like almost too ridiculous.
What sounds almost too ridiculous?
Well, what do you think happened?
Listen, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and try to guess and try to figure out.
We're sitting here covered in blood in the back of a cop car on Christmas Day.
Well, that's why we're trying to figure it out. You were out there in a physical fight with somebody's dad. That's all I know.
But I thought you knew what was going on.
No, I don't. That's what I keep trying to tell you.
Why don't you talk about that?
Huh?
2224, one of the units on the scene.
Why don't you talk about that?
415, switch to.
Can you let me know, like, how, like, what's gonna happen? Like, we leave here and then what?
2224, one of the units on the scene.
I go to the police station, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then after the police station, after I arrive at the police station, then what happens?
I don't know. It depends on whatever went on here.
Does it? I want to cry.
Huh?
I want to cry.
Go ahead, cry.
No one will have mercy for me. No one. And I don't blame them. I wouldn't have mercy for me either. It's like ridiculous, you know? You know, like no way. No way life is just fucking ridiculous. Oh. I just want to hug. Hug a man. I don't deserve one. I feel bad about.
When the officer began collecting personal details, Ramon grew uneasy, suspecting a trap. Paranoia set in as he asked to see the officer's notebook, worried his words might be twisted or leaked. Dragging his family into the chaos, Ramon refused to provide much more information, shielding his loved ones from the growing scandal. Left alone in the cruiser while the officer stepped away, Ramon's guard dropped. He muttered apologies to Ariana, his voice soft and filled with regret.
I love you, Ariana. Sorry. Oh.
When paramedics arrived to check on him, they found no physical issues, leaving him to his brooding thoughts.
What do you think about that?
About what?
The violence in prison?
I have no idea about it.
You don't?
No, we don't deal with that system.
Yes, but there's been countless documentaries and interviews and articles about it. It's a prevalent thing in the media, in the public eye. What do you think?
But it's not talked about a lot.
So you acknowledge it?
I mean, it's there.
Ramon tried distracting himself with small talk when the officer returned. He asked about the officer's Christmas plans and shared musings on criminals, an odd choice given the circumstances. When he wasn't speaking, he whispered to himself, Ariana's name often slipping out.
That's all I envisioned with her. She was my life. Look at me. I deserve everything. Hatred of the world will be brought down upon me.
Throughout the footage, Ramon's conflicting emotions were clear. Guilt, anxiety, and a cautious fear of saying too much. As the cruiser finally received clearance to transport him to the station for questioning, Ramon sat in silence, staring ahead, lost in his thoughts. Alone in the interrogation room, Ramon slumped forward, resting his head on the table. What followed was nothing short of shocking. 7 minutes later, an officer walked in and informed him that he wasn't being charged, at least not yet. Ramon seemed startled by the news and immediately asked about Ariana.
All right, took the handcuffs off you? All right, listen, we're gonna get you out of here. We looked into the case a little bit further, and we're not charging you with anything.
What?
We're not gonna charge you anything right now, okay? We're gonna look into it a little further, make sure some things are the way they're supposed to be, so you're gonna get out of here. But I want to ask you something. Is it okay if we take pictures of what happened with you? Since we don't know if you happen to be a victim of something, we'd like to have evidence of that too. So if you don't mind, we'd be able to take pictures of you, of your injuries and stuff that you got hurt.
Do you know anything? Yes, but do you know anything about her?
As far as I know, she's still in surgery. They're still working on her.
Do you know what time it is?
7:30. Actually, 7:35. And I know it seems scary that she's in surgery for a long time, but they take their time to make sure everything's the right way. So sometimes things take quite a long time. So she's still okay. She's still in surgery, and we don't know anything more than that.
The officer explained that he would be photographed and examined for forensic evidence before being released. Still confused, Ramon listened as the officer told him the investigation team would remain in contact, and if needed, would call him back for further questioning.
Right now, they're not being charged.
Do you know why?
You think we want to screw you, but that's not the case. We want to make sure we do everything right. So if there's something that you need to be held responsible for, you will be, but if there's not, you won't be. So instead of rushing into something and doing all this stuff, we decided to back up and take our time a little bit and look into it a little bit further, because there's always things maybe we don't know about. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do, and so I'm glad they took that stuff off you and you've been sitting here okay.
If he didn't cooperate, they'd pursue an arrest warrant.
But as long as if you're cooperative with us and you keep in touch with us, we have no reason to come jack you up at your business or wherever you're working at. If something has to happen, you can run all you want. We'll come get you wherever you are. You know what I mean? It's not. Yeah, you're a young kid. If you run away, it doesn't make no sense. If something's going to happen, running isn't going to solve the problem.
Ramon then shifted the conversation to practical concerns, asking about his clothes, personal belongings, and car. The officer assured him he would receive a standard white jumpsuit and that his items would be returned once the house was cleared. He also mentioned that Ramon would be driven back to retrieve his car. The police seemed intent on keeping Ramon calm and comfortable. When Ramon asked about Ariana's condition, the officer explained that only her family could visit her at the hospital, and it was highly unlikely they'd share any updates with him. As the two spoke, a forensic technician entered to document any injuries Ramon may have had. The officer casually explained the process while keeping the tone light, even asking Ramon about his life in Florida and his family.
Sorry, it's freezing in here.
What are you looking for?
This is just stuff that we get in case there's any questions, or like I said, if you were a victim of something and somebody did something to you during this whole encounter, we'll have a documentation that you also were injured. Because if you leave and we don't have any documentation of anything, then obviously, what can we say? It's already healed up later. So if we just do everything now, we don't have to worry about it.
The conversation was filled with mundane details, like the length of surgeries and what kind of charges might apply in cases like his. Ramon was told that at this stage it fell under domestic battery since he had a relationship with Ariana. Throughout the interaction, the officer emphasized that they weren't trying to pin anything on him, but were simply after the truth. Once the forensic evaluation was completed, Ramon was left alone. Sitting in silence, he whispered softly, asking for a miracle.
Please, come on, Ariana. You're stronger than you are. I don't want to lose you. I swear if we get through this, I'm going to marry you right now. Just gotta get through this. Promise.
When the officer returned, he informed Ramon that they would drive him back to the Ptarcinski home to retrieve his car and belongings. Still, Ramon couldn't stop asking about Ariana's recovery.
Do you know when you were last updated on her?
I haven't heard for like 2 hours.
2 hours ago she was still in surgery?
Yeah, she was still in surgery, but they were talking well.
Who?
The surgeons, well, when we first started this night, we thought she was going to die.
I thought she was dead.
Yeah, well, modern miracle in medicine, okay? They can do a lot.
They were sounding hopeful.
Yeah, they were sounding hopeful, but I you know what I mean?
Can you tell me what they said? Like,
I didn't talk to them. All I know is that their surgery went well, and they were closing up and doing their things, you know what I mean? But, I mean, it's weird, and you've heard it, like, some weird blood clot could just float down and hit the wrong thing, and she could go sideways, tomorrow morning or in 2 hours from now, you know what I mean? So, the surgery went well. That's all I can tell you. You know what I'm saying? I don't want you to get, I'm hopeful. I would like to be hopeful, but you know what I mean? But, at the same time, I'm also a realist that...
He clung to the hope that she might survive. Ramon was eventually dropped off at his grandmother's house pending further investigation. While he appeared confident that Ariana would pull through, no one could have anticipated the devastating truth about to unfold. Despite the relentless efforts of trauma doctors, Ariana's condition worsened after her initial surgery. She was placed on life support, but the prognosis was grim. On the morning of December 26, 2021, her parents made the heartbreaking decision to remove her from life support. An autopsy conducted by Dr. Wayne Kurz, the 6th District Medical Examiner, revealed the cause of death, a fatal knife wound to her neck. Dr. Kurz officially ruled her death a homicide, stating the injury was inflicted by another person. Ariana was laid to rest on December 30th, 2021 in Spring Hill, Florida. But the Ptarcinski family's nightmare was far from over. Although the medical examiner ruled her death a homicide, the investigation had yet to produce a clear suspect. Ramon had never been read his Miranda rights nor formally questioned about his potential involvement. Instead, he was treated as a victim during his interview at the station. The case became even murkier when Ramon, now armed with a lawyer, refused to cooperate further with the investigation. His silence left Ariana's family desperate for answers. To their dismay, the only update they received was that the case had been handed over to the state attorney's office for review, a process that would determine if charges would ever be filed. The Ptarcinskis had buried their daughter, but their fight for justice had only just begun. During this agonizing wait, the family chose to honor Ariana's memory. On July 28, 2023, they celebrated what would have been her 20th birthday with a heartfelt memorial.
Ariana Ptarcinski would have celebrated her 20th birthday Friday, but instead, her family says they feel helpless. They released lanterns to keep their daughter's memory alive.
Every year we are going to do something for her, because she deserves that.
But their moment of remembrance was overshadowed by devastating news. On August 16, 2023, Assistant State Attorney Peter Magrino issued a letter to the Hernando County Sheriff's Office, officially closing Ariana's case. The Ptarcinskis were informed that no charges would be filed in her death. The case, they were told, would remain closed unless new evidence came to light. Adding to their anguish, the sheriff's office released a public statement explaining the decision. According to Florida law, they said, "A death resulting from negligence cannot lead to criminal charges without mens rea, the intent or knowledge of wrongdoing." Investigators had found no proof that the suspected individual intended harm or was aware of any criminal act. They defended the investigation as thorough, claiming they had explored every lead to the best of their ability. The announcement left the Ptarcinski family devastated, grappling with unanswered questions and a justice system that seemed to leave them behind. The findings from Ariana's case caused an uproar among the Ptarcinski family and the Spring Hill community. Many began to question whether the investigation had been handled properly. Key details seemed to have been overlooked, like the return of Ramon's wallet by the lead investigator, the discovery of 2 knives in Ariana's bedroom that were never thoroughly examined, and the failure to collect a bedsheet with Ramon's bloody handprint as evidence. The case quickly caught the attention of criminal justice experts, including retired New York detective John Beza and Dr. David Thomas, a former police officer turned professor of forensic studies at Florida Gulf Coast University. Beza, after reviewing publicly released dashcam footage, noted that Ramon had made what appeared to be multiple admissions of guilt without even being questioned. He argued that this evidence alone should have provided probable cause to arrest and interrogate Ramon about his role in Ariana's death. Thomas, meanwhile, examined the 370-page case file and criticized its focus. Much of the documentation revolved around public opinion, including news articles, social media accounts, and emails sent by Eddie Ptarcinski. He also highlighted how Ariana's mother, Judy, had been treated unfairly by authorities, despite having no involvement in the events leading to Ariana's death. The sheriff's office defended their investigation, pointing to 2 critical findings that influenced the state attorney's decision not to press charges. First, text messages and interviews with friends suggested that Ariana and Ramon had a typical relationship, with ups and downs, but no history of violence. There was no mistake of physical altercations leading up to the tragic light. Second, investigators had analyzed Ariana's artwork. Though she was a talented artist, her drawings often depicted dark and morbid themes. One chilling piece, created just 15 months before her death, showed a young woman bleeding from a self-inflicted neck wound. This led investigators to consider the possibility that Ariana had taken her own life. However, her family and friends strongly rejected this theory, insisting that while Ariana had a fascination with the macabre, she was not suicidal. They maintained that her art was simply an outlet for her creativity, not a reflection of her mental state. Dr. Thomas acknowledged that Ariana's artwork might align with the investigators' theory, but he firmly dismissed it, citing the medical examiner's conclusion that Ariana's death was a homicide. According to the autopsy, the fatal wound could only have been inflicted by another person. Despite these expert opinions, the sheriff's office had not wavered in their stance. The case remains officially closed, leaving Ariana's family and supporters longing for answers and justice that never came. Ariana's family refuses to give up their fight for justice. For them, the unanswered questions surrounding her tragic death are a wound that won't heal, and they are determined to uncover the truth.
We don't know what exactly happened in that room, but all I know is our daughter's not here, and there's no charges against this kid whatsoever.
They've turned to social media and started petitions, demanding that her case be reopened. Their efforts have inspired many to stand alongside them, raising their voices for Ariana and spreading her story far and wide. Friends and supporters have taken to online forums to share Ariana's case, drawing parallels to other high-profile tragedies, like the death of 22-year-old Gabby Petito. Gabby, allegedly murdered by her fiancé Brian Laundrie, also didn't receive the justice she deserved, as Laundrie ended his life before the police could hold him accountable. Similarly, Ramon Durst has avoided further questioning by hiring a lawyer, leaving many frustrated at the lack of progress in Ariana's case. Social media is flooded with concerns about a disturbing trend of violence against young women, often at the hands of their partners. Supporters believe that fighting for answers in Ariana's case is about more than just justice for her family. It's about driving change in a justice system that too often leaves victims without a voice. The case of Ariana Ptarcinski is one that still leaves us searching for answers. It's a perplexing situation where there seems to be probable cause. Yet the investigation was not thorough enough to lead to any charges. With all these unanswered questions, we ask you today, do you believe Ariana's death was self-inflicted? And that Ramon's reactions were simply a result of shock? Was the investigation handled to the best of its ability? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you found today's video intriguing, don't forget to subscribe to Behind the Crime. Hit the like button and share our videos with fellow crime enthusiasts. If you have a crime story you'd like us to uncover, leave us a message in the comment section. Until next time, stay safe